They can't just be average or okay or good in the draft. They want to excel in it, and they have a reputation of doing that.
Baltimore Ravens select John Ogden, Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, Edward Reed, Haloti Ngata, Lamar Jackson. There it is.
Two Hall of Fame players right off the bat with your first two picks. That's a standard that we try to match every year.
Shot by Lewis.
Wide receiver stands out. It's always a popular topic at this time of year. They need to add there.
Odell Beckham Jr. is heading to Baltimore.
Never expected to end up here.
We went into it knowing we were the underdogs. Sometimes the underdog wins.
This team always wants to draft and develop players, and this is where it all starts.
This is a name draft and a quality draft, not a quantity draft.
There's not like a pressure-filled intensity. It's almost more just anxiety and excitement of will our players that we want be there when we have an opportunity to pick
The
them.
Baltimore Ravens select Kyle Hamilton.
You don't know what's going to happen. The only thing you know is get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because the unpredictable is the only thing that's consistent in this game. The Ravens have been a draft organization from day one.
With the fourth choice in the first round, the Baltimore Ravens select John Ogden, tackle, UCLA.
Jonathan, Ozzie Newsome, how you doing? You ready to become a Raven?
With the 25th selection in the first round, the Baltimore Ravens have selected Ray Lewis, linebacker, University of Miami.
Since we came here in 1996, if you look at that first draft, it really set the tone for this organization.
Ray, did we interview you first at the Combine? Did you interview with anybody else? You did. You pissed everybody else off, didn't you? You did? But look, you are the second choice of the Baltimore Ravens, number 26 in the draft.
You just look at the end results, and it led to 2 Super Bowls with Ray, 1 with J.O., and but just 2 Hall of Fame players right off the bat with your first 2 picks, which is rare. It's unheard of, and it's remarkable, and that's a standard that we try to match every year.
The Baltimore Ravens select
Kyle Hamilton,
Jimmy Smith,
CJ,
Ronnie Stanley,
Jamal,
Joe Flacco,
Edward Reed,
Torrey Smith,
Haloti Ngata.
Eric DeCosta has called the draft the lifeblood of the organization. It's something that they take extremely seriously here, and I think the fans understand that. They can't just be average or okay or good in the draft. They want to excel in it, and they have a reputation of doing that.
People always ask me, what do you guys do in the off season? Well, in the NFL, there really is no off season to me. Once the Super Bowl's over, pretty soon after that's the Combine. Another off season event that I like going to is the NFL owners meetings.
Yeah, Cliff, thanks, Cliff. Thanks, Cliff. Appreciate that.
Then after that is free agency. And then of course now, when it gets closer to April, everything starts ramping up for the drafts. There's always a pre-draft press conference.
The good old Liars Luncheon, right?
So this is the unofficial off-season reunion of the media and the organization.
It's usually a couple weeks before the draft. Some of the Ravens' top decision makers come together and talk a little bit about the team's draft plans.
We're excited. We see the draft as a great opportunity for us to get better as a team.
And the nickname is the Liars Lunch. And that's not so much the Ravens lying, it's 32 NFL teams not really saying who they like in the draft, and the media having to figure out, so I wonder who they do like in the draft.
Are there any positions where you see there's a lot of depth in an area where you're going to want to go shopping?
This is the 28th year I've covered every one the Ravens have had. It started in a little restaurant in Reisterstown. It's evolved considerably over the years, and you knew right out of the gate, year one, Art Modell's a nice man, but he's not answering any questions. Ozzie's a really bright guy, but he's not answering anything directly. So year one, you figured out this is not a place you go to get direct answers. And when I say liar, it's not a purgative, it's not a negative, it's kind of a fun thing. You don't want everybody else knowing your business, so you're sure as hell not gonna come out and tell everybody in the media, with the 22nd pick in the first round, we're going to take, no, that ain't gonna happen.
who do we think has the best chance to come in and make us the best football team. And so if that's a quarterback, if that's a receiver, a corner, an offensive tackle, we're going to look at that very strongly.
You come away with this knowing that you're not going to get the full truth, and if you're expecting it, you probably don't know the business. No organization in the NFL, given the importance of the draft, is going to lay out their draft plans for 31 other teams to see and to hear about.
Every team has a different ranking, and if you tip your hand, then you're tipping your hand, and that's when you'll see teams jump, and there's so many different ways to do it. It's not just the pre-draft press conference. I could do it on the road talking about a player if I tell someone I really love a guy, and they should remember that, when it comes to the draft process, and say, oh, I know the Ravens really like this player. So you got to be guarded with what you let out. You do.
Those are names, so probably not sharing those with you guys right now.
It's kind of become a fun little event that people are skeptical about what's said. The people that talk know the media is kind of skeptical.
They go in there knowing that the Ravens aren't going to give us their draft board, and we know they know that. So it's a little give and take, back and forth.
They're going to kind of play some games a little bit. They're going to try to put out a message. I think they really enjoy the fact of being vague in certain areas, sometimes even some misdirection.
And I've never lied, ever. I may not tell the full truth, but I never lie.
Now you just go out and try to find the best players for the Ravens and see as we go through the process, through the pro days, through the combine, through the workouts, and then next week in the meetings if they fit our scheme and can help us.
It's a little bit like a puzzle game, and you come together and you see which pieces fit, and then you start to think, all right, maybe that's who they're looking for in the draft.
What do you deem as your biggest need right now going into the draft?
Oh, man.
I think in all but probably two positions, the Ravens could line up right now and have a competent team. I think you could feel good about their options and their depth. But wide receiver stands out. It's always a popular topic at this time of year. They need to add there.
The fans will be happy that it's a strong receiver class. We see a multitude of guys that can go in the first couple of rounds.
Which guys do we really like for what we're trying to do for our room? Hopefully we get one of those guys, but that being said, you never know.
You've had one free agent come in from the outside of the organization so far this offseason. How difficult has it been to augment this roster ahead of the draft?
Not too much, not too bad, I would say.
We're really not a team that you'd go in and say, hey, this team was going to sign a lot of free agents because of all the draft picks we've had. So see where these guys grow and they develop and trust our young, trust our evaluation, trust our development, and give these guys a chance to go play. I think that was more the mindset this offseason.
We're not done, as Ozzie has said a million times. The roster's not set till September. And we'll have a lot of different opportunities, pre-draft, post-draft, to build a strong football team. We'll take advantage of every single mechanism that we can to build the best team we can. So this is just really the beginning, not the end.
You just don't know. You don't know what player's going to emerge. You don't know what player's going to get injured. You don't know what player's going to decide he wants to retire. The only thing you know is get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because the unpredictable is the only thing that's consistent in this game.
Odell Beckham Jr. is heading to Baltimore on a one-year deal worth up to $18 million.
Odell Beckham Jr. signs with the Ravens a day before. He goes and visits with the Jets in person, and the Ravens land Odell Beckham Jr. That actually happened on Easter Sunday.
Interesting move by the Ravens and OBJ. Totally didn't expect that.
Scale of 1 to 10, my shock level is at a 10 over this.
What a great move. This has worked for them before, and I hope it works for them again, because the league's better when Odell is crushing it.
Thanks for coming out today. It's exciting for us and a great opportunity for us to announce Odell Beckham as our latest addition to the team.
Stafford going to the end zone, reaching up and making the grab. Odell Beckham Jr.
For Beckham, open, touchdown!
You know, we went into it knowing we were the underdogs, and sometimes it's a great story, sometimes the underdog wins. And we're thrilled to have him here today, and we're thrilled for what this means for our football team.
Fade to Beckham, makes the adjustment, and it's his second touchdown.
You know, I'm in a place in my life where it means a lot more to be wanted than, someone would love to have you. Because a lot of places would love to have you. But where you're really wanted, you can then pour your heart into that even more. You know what I mean? It's just a lot easier from where I'm at, just the type of person I am. And that was this situation. It wasn't about so much money, it wasn't about anything. It was that they showed that they wanted me to be here and that they seen me as a piece to come here and help them win.
Who's there? Yes. I've been turning up.
We're getting somebody who's ready to explode again, and he's in the right environment with the right quarterback, with the right team, in the right city. It's the perfect player at the perfect time.
We're just working hard and trying to make our team as good as it can be, and today's a really good day. Today's a great day for the Ravens.
He had a lot of choices, and the Ravens were not the favorite to get him. Odell now takes wide receiver from being a high priority now to where they can be maybe more selective and go a different route.
They want to be best at drafting and developing their own players. This is not a team that's going to ever want to rely on free agency. Free agencies for filling in a couple of needs. This team always wants to draft and develop players, and this is where it all starts.
The Ravens only have 5 draft picks this year.
You would win a lot of money, by the way, off me if you Ravens only make 5 picks. I would be absolutely shocked.
Having 5 picks this year for the Ravens is an unusually low number for them compared to last year when they had 11, for instance.
I'd say there's pressure in every draft, but yeah, the less picks you have, the less opportunities you have to be right.
No team's going to bat 1,000. It's just not going to happen. Even the smartest teams miss. But I think you have to look at it as they need to hit on as many of these as possible. This is a really important draft for them.
Come draft weekend, there's not like a pressure-filled intensity. It's almost more just anxiety and excitement of, will our players that we want be there when we have an opportunity to pick them.
5 players who are impact players, that's a hell of a draft. You draft 10 players every year for 4 or 5 years, you almost kind of dam up the roster and give yourself no inflow or outflow of talent. So I don't think it's a bad thing to have 5 players. And it wouldn't bother me if they traded 2 of them and moved up and got a better first round pick if they were able to do something like that and wound up with 4 players. To me, it's not just about the numbers. It's not a volume game anymore. You've had the volume the last couple of years. To me, this is a year where it's about the name.
Joey Porter Jr.
Anthony Richardson pick to the Baltimore Ravens.
I felt like Deontay Banks from Maryland made so much sense.
Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas.
Baltimore gets some quarterback protection.
Jackson Smith and Jigba going to Baltimore.
The draft board that the Ravens will have and will be operating off of in late April does not look very much like the draft board that some of these pundits have, and it's how some of these mocks fall off the board.
If you go back to the first luncheon, there was nobody talking about Jonathan Ogden, and Jonathan Ogden wound up with a gold jacket. There weren't that many people talking about Ray Lewis, to be honest with you, at that first press conference, and he wound up with a gold jacket as well. And it's because those guys put in the hours, the years, to know what talent really is.
You never know. There's always at least one surprise. Something's going to happen that you don't expect, and that's one thing that makes the draft so fascinating.
I don't know who's going to play at what position this year, and I don't know what will happen in 2 days from now. And neither does everybody else. But the one thing 28 years of these lunches and these press conferences have taught me, they have an approach. And that approach has worked out pretty well year after year, even if you can't predict what's right around the corner.
Hey, it's Eric DeCosta from Baltimore.